All right, you sleuths, get ready for 7 murder riddles only the smartest 2% can solve. And the other 98% can have ice cream. What does that mean? Figure it out. Here's your chance to test your investigative skills. Warning, these riddles might chill your blood. Cold blood, huh? Are you brave enough for it? Then hit the like button and let's start. Number 1. Family drama. There was a family that lived in a beautiful house. Mom, dad, son, and daughter. They seemed to be perfectly happy, but one day, one of them killed one of the others. Someone of the family was a witness of that crime. Another one was the murderer's accomplice. How dysfunctional. Here is what we know. 1. The witness and the accomplice of the murder were not of the same sex. 2. The oldest person in the family and the witness were a male and a female. 3. The youngest person in the family and the victim were not of the same sex. 4. The accomplice of the murder was older than the poor victim. 5. The father was the oldest member of the family. 6. The murderer was not the youngest in the family. There is one question for you to answer. Who was the murderer and who was the victim? You've got 1 minute to solve this riddle, and it starts right now. "15 seconds to go. Use some logic to figure it out." Now let's find out the right answer. If we put all the facts together, it gets obvious that the youngest person is the witness of the crime. He or she was neither the murderer nor the accomplice or the victim. Now, judging by fact number 2, we can tell that the daughter was the youngest in the family. It's also obvious that the accomplice and the victim were both males. So, the victim was the son, and his mother killed him with his father's help. Apparently, mom and dad weren't joking about keeping your room clean and your bed made. Number 2. Footprints in the snow. The police found a body of a dead man who was killed in the snow. There were no clues left, except for 2 parallel lines with footprints between them going away from the body. Can you help the police and tell them whom they should be looking for? Think it over. I give you 15 seconds. Parallel lines with footprints tell the police they should be looking for a man in a wheelchair, or somebody dragging a ladder. Number 3. A lonely man. A lonely old man lived in his house in the suburb of a city. He never left the house for long. It was a midsummer Friday when the mailman walked by and called out for the man. There was no answer. The mailman looked into the window and saw him in a pool of blood. When the policeman arrived, he found Tuesday's newspaper, 2 bottles of warm milk, and 1 bottle of cold milk. The next day, the killer was arrested. How did the police find out who it was so quickly? You have 15 seconds. Give it a go. Time's up! Do you have an answer? It was obviously the mailman. He knew that no one in this house would read a newspaper on Wednesday or Thursday. Number 4. License plate cypher. The richest man in a small town called Madison was killed in his own home. There was a knife stuck in his throat. Yikes! Detective Erwin Zander, assigned to investigate the crime, spent weeks trying to figure out who the killer was. One day, a newspaper was delivered to his house. It had a post-it note on it saying, "The answer is inside." The detective guessed the answer must have been hidden in the ad with license plates for sale. He put it together and arrested the killer. Here is the ad he saw. Car license plates for sale. W05 NW0 H13 HSR O05 EBM D08 UNE U10 HTY N04 BRE N16 TTE I26 LHC T10 AEE I26 CNA X22 VDA. Can you say who killed the tycoon? I'll give you 15 seconds again. Remember to look at it from all possible angles. Are you ready for the answer? Let's see if we were thinking in the same way. The first part is pretty easy. If you read the first letters in a column, you will get whodunit IX. So whoever sent it was teasing the detective. Then, if you go from the bottom to the top and right to left to read all the remaining letters, you will get the following phrase. Advance each letter by the number shown. 5 letters from W is B. 13 letters from H is U. If you read the code this way, you'll know that Butler did it. Number 5. Powerful poison. One cold winter night, Lisa was found dead on the floor of her own apartment. All the doors and windows were safely shut, and the body was not injured. The police figured out Lisa was poisoned, but the poison didn't come with her food. They interrogated the 3 suspects. Lisa's brother, Jim, who worked as a chemist, said the last time he saw her was a month ago or so. He gave Lisa a vintage room makeover for her birthday with green wallpapers and antique furniture. The second suspect was Lisa's colleague, who visited the apartment a week before the tragedy to pick up some papers for work. The third suspect was Steve, the mailman. A few days before Lisa was murdered, they had accidentally run into each other as he was delivering the weekly paper. The police arrested the killer, and he confessed it was his fault. Can you tell who the killer was? You've got 15 seconds for this detective riddle. The correct answer is Jim. Jim was the one who killed his sister. Another dysfunctional family, eh? Since he's a chemist, he knows a thing or two about poisons. So he added some arsenic, a toxic compound, to the new green wallpapers. When it got cold, arsenic converted into gas and poisoned Lisa. Number 6. Armed burglary. It was a fine day in October, and Detective Cooper was walking around a very rich, quiet neighborhood to make sure everything was all right. He saw an injured man who rushed to him for help. He said the family hired him to watch over their house while they were on vacation. He was standing facing the house when a criminal came up to him without making a sound. The next thing he remembers was being stabbed with a knife. Fortunately, it was not fatal. Then he emptied the house and escaped. The poor guy only now regained consciousness and was able to tell the story. Somehow, the detective knew the guard was lying to him. How did he guess that the real burglar was standing right in front of him? Your 15 seconds for this mystery start right now. To find the right answer, you just have to remember it's fall and to look around. There were leaves all over the mansion grounds, so it was impossible to move without making a single noise. The guard was obviously lying, trying to shift the blame for what he had done to someone else. Number 7. Homecoming. A group of 8 friends was very close in high school. Then almost all of them moved out of town and never came to visit. Carol and Sally were the ones that didn't go anywhere. Carol was happily married and spent all her time with her family, and Sally was feeling rather sad and lonely. A few years later, one of the friends died in a car accident. Since his parents were still living in the same old town, the funeral was organized there, and all other friends came to attend it. A month after the funeral, everyone in town was shocked. Sally killed Carol. Why on earth has she done it? I will give you 15 seconds to find the answer. Time to know the truth. Don't be too upset if you couldn't solve the riddle. They say only psychopaths can guess it. Sally killed Carol to see her high school friends again. She knew they would all come to the funeral. So, which of the riddles was the hardest to solve? Feel free to share in the comments below. Oh, by the way, that ice cream thing I mentioned at the top for the 98% who can't solve these? That's there to make you feel better. And it works, doesn't it? Go have some. Please like this video if you had a good time solving the riddles. Subscribe to our channel to stay with us on the bright side.